I hurry up the stairs and into the east hallway with the butler at my heels. All this just to get as far away as I physically can from the gardens before I dare speak of her again.
She had pale skin, dark eyes, and long dark hair. She wouldn't give me her name.
And did she know who killed the madam?
It didn't seem like she knew who it was. But she still knows that Hana is dead. You know I'm not gonna do well if I go under investigation right now.
Rua, bitte, calm down and think, right? Think. The body hasn't been moved. She must have been near it to know of it. If she knows there's a corpse, we can go about this two ways. Either we find her and take care of her, or we...
Make her take the fall. That's all well and good. Brilliant. But there's just one thing.
The hairs on the back of my neck stand on end at the mere thought of that woman. I don't know if it was a trick of the light, but I don't think I was imagining things. And though he might think me a lunatic, I can only go on.
Well, she was this thing. A monster. A witch. I know how it sounds. I sound like... okay, fuck. It sounds like I've gone off my rocker with all that's happened.
I expect to hear disregard, concern for my mental state, and maybe even empty platitudes relating to my guilt. But instead, the other man grows deathly silent, a thoughtful look on his face.
I would normally say that seeing hallucinations is a normal human experience, even if this does not sound like a bereavement hallucination. But the woman you described is familiar. I've seen her before in the mansion. Glimpses.
Is she one of ours then? You must know her name now that you know what she looks like.
I thought at first that her name may have merely slipped my mind. I've asked the head housemaid to reprimand her, for she was always loitering about when I saw her. But the old woman confirms. We do not have anyone fitting the description under our employ.
Has she seen her at all?
So what I saw, what you saw, what was that? I don't understand. Explain, Shurkin. Please tell me I'm not going mad.
We will have a head count of the female staff in the morning, and I'll assign stricter security protocols when the staff returns. It's better we rule things out before jumping to conclusions. I will have to check for tampering as well.
Tampering?
Psychotropic drugs to start off with, perhaps in the water supply. I suggest you not worry yourself about it. You are unharmed. That is what matters right now. If it makes you feel any better, I'll stand guard outside for the night.
No, that does nothing to make me feel any better. If that woman was a hallucination, a waking nightmare, what could a guard do to stop her from appearing before me once more? And if she comes into my dreams? I loathe to think I would need to cry for help like an infant in need of his mother. A tense silence befalls us, and though I don't dare to speak it out loud, I would say that we both seem scared. Quite a thing for these two guys. You know, cold-blooded killers, basically, to be scared of something. just shows you how terrifying this ghost is. Often, I'm the first to break anything of the sort. But...
Shall I put them in a vase?
I'm confused before I realize what I have in my grip.
What? Oh, these? I didn't realize I still had them.
I really did not. But there they were, still in my grip, are the daffodils I had taken from the garden. Even in the wake of my flight, I had refused to let go of them whether I was conscious of it or not. They should be for Mother. They could be for Hana, too. But does it even matter? What do dead women care for flowers? Well, I suppose Hana would have loved them.
No, I think I'll take them with me. And if you don't mind, I'm going to turn in for the night.
Of course. I shan't keep you any longer. I'll be out here if you need anything.
I don't care enough to show any sign that I've heard him, retreating into the master bedroom without another word. The bouquet of daffodils is quickly placed before the nursery door. It's almost hilarious how I'm now worried about a woman more than I am of the fact that there's a corpse in the next room. But even as worry for her still keeps me on edge, I feel exhaustion come over me. Not bothering to strip off my clothes, I fall onto the bed tired and alone. The sickly sweet scent wafting in from the nursery has kept me awake through most of the night. It's intoxicating and nauseating in equal parts. The body has yet to be disposed of. Mostly my fault. I have too much to take into account before I rush to a decision. Though perhaps this whole ordeal is being made complex by my sleep-addled brain. I can't be bothered to rise from the bed even when the sun, what little there seems to be today, peeks through the curtains. I don't want to handle any of it. Not Hana's body, not the security, not Kylie visiting. Right now, all I want to do is actually get some sleep. Still, the thought of that woman from yesterday and the danger that she presented was enough to keep me from even trying. So, suffice to say, I'm not very happy that anyone would dare to separate me from my true love, the bed. The rain that has started sometime during the night didn't help the mood. Okay, maybe it helps just a little. The strange sunny weather has been nice and all, but for it to return as it should be feels like a good sign of things to come. Perhaps things will settle back to normal, and the crazy drama that has gone on lately will die down. The rhythmic pitter-patter of the rain fills the early morning silence with a steady beat. Thank goodness I don't have to be anywhere in a hurry today. I would hate to be caught unawares in this rain. With how it looks outside, it seems that the weather is making up for all the sunny days. It has given us with a good old-fashioned downpour. It does let up within the quarter of an hour. However, a day beginning with a cloudburst like this? Locals usually take it as an immediate sign. Luxburn's abysmal weather is back, likely for good. And then the sun came out. There's this rubbish about how the heavens cry with you through the rain. If anyone sentimental enough knows of what I've done, they'd probably spout this stupid thought my way. Well, I think it's a load of bull. Hana would roll in her grave at the thought that the heavens made it rain for her. She was never one for the dreary weather, always enjoying the scarce sunshine on rare sunny days. She had been loving the abnormally sunny week thus far. If only things had not come to this. But it is already far too late to regret everything, and thankfully somebody interrupts before I can start brooding on the what-ifs. Perhaps the only time I can appreciate the man's insufferable prying.
Are you really going to stay in bed all day?
What do you want?
You must have been really rattled by what happened yesterday. If you need to talk about it, I am quite qualified in that regard.
And you aren't even the slightest bit bothered? Truly? Not even the slightest bit worried?
I was worried. But I realized that it's not my life in danger, is it? My worrying will not help matters. Neither will yours.
The detached manner in which he admits this annoys me to no end.
Oh, as a matter of fact, it is your life in danger. Because if I find you lacking, if that woman finds their way anywhere near me again, you'll be following in the footsteps of your predecessor. Are we clear? Do what you have to. In fact, it'd be best if you keep busy. Do what needs to be done, and if I see you even idling for 1 second, I won't be happy.
He doesn't say anything. There is no witty retort. It isn't a threat, but a promise, after all. I don't take kindly to incompetence, especially when it comes to affairs that affect my very safety. I will kill if it ensures that I live.
Are there any updates about the woman?
Being in the dark has me on edge. Information, any at all, may very well help me in calming down.
I've already briefed security about her, and more from the agency will be arriving tonight. But they haven't seen anyone fitting the description.
So you have nothing then? Fat lot of use you guys are. What do I even pay you for? Do me a favor. There's the door. Don't let it hit you on your way out.
Well, there is something. It's about McCulloch.
Aw, my girl. Though I'll deny it, I do find myself a tiny bit interested.
I called her secretary about taking the day off. He hasn't heard from her over the weekend.
Ever consider she might be putting her paycheck to good use? Probably somewhere out there getting drunk, having a shag. Ugh, and I envy her for it. As long as she's here for work, what and who she does in her free time is her business.
Hell, maybe she's found another client to sleep with. I'll commend her if that is the case. It's a good way as any to make connections and get business. I would be a hypocrite and a liar if I said I didn't get some of my business that way. Oh? Scratches the itch, too.
That's all well and good, but she's not answering her mobile either. Mr. Parker will be filling a missing persons case with the police if she doesn't turn up today.
Okay, interesting as all this is, why bring this to my attention? If we've lost an interior designer, just find someone else to take her place.
If I knew that letting Hana hire her would bring so much trouble, I would have stopped it at just the sets.
The last anyone has seen of her was here, the morning of the party. Your housewarming party.
That isn't good news.
It wouldn't do for the police to hear of this, and to suspect.
They are not welcome in this home. The niggling voice in the back of my head starts loudly, though its presence is both unwanted and unnecessary.
If they come to investigate her disappearance, you need to make a decision. What will we be doing with the madam?
Because if they come to investigate her disappearance, well, we don't want them snooping about the house. Not until dearest Hana is taken care of, because I'm the fool who can't let her go. It's ridiculous that I'm so sentimental about something that amounts to nothing more than rotting meat. As it is, the body is still decomposing on the inside, internal organs being the first to go. If anybody found her, they might still think that she's only sleeping. First sign of flies and maggots aside, anyway. It's been less than 48 hours. But give it a day or two, and the thing will only get worse. My bedroom already smells like rotting fruit. The scent is faint and lingering. It's persistent, even with all that Johans has done to decontaminate the place without touching the body itself.
Leave it for tonight. I'll think of something by then. Until then, I want you on top of everything. Now, if we're done here, I'd like to go back to sleep and...
No such luck. Well, there goes any plans of grabbing some shut-eye. Rolling over on my stomach, I can only scream into my pillow.
Of course, of course. Ugh.
Screw what Hana said. She's dead now.
Johans, distract her.
Oh, look, it's time for me to go. Have fun with your little play date. So long, farewell, and auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.
Freaking Johans.
No, Johans, don't you turn away from me. Keep her busy for an hour. Come on!
Come on! I have to press my face against the pillow once more to suppress a groan. You just can't get loyal help anymore.
Hello there, little Fraulein. Your uncle is just upstairs and will be down in a moment. He is super excited to have you today. I hope you're well rested and ready to play a lot.
That bastard. I'll be down in a sec, Munchkin. Let me just...
Change into a fresh shirt, brush my teeth, fix my hair, bemoan my very existence. Wish I was anywhere else in the world right now. Don't get me wrong, Kylie is a great kid. Wonderful. Better than most brats her age. But handling a tyke is the last thing I want on my agenda right now with this whole Hana business. Fortunately, I am well versed in how the world works. I've long learned that the show must go on no matter what hurdles come in my way. So I set to preparing for the day. Running a comb through my hair is just divine and simply makes me feel more human. Bed hair is disgusting, though it isn't as bad now as it was when I was a child. With how expensive a trip to the barber's was, I often had to grow it out until Mother had the time to cut it for me. The curls and tangles were simply horrid. Why, I was even mistaken as a little girl because of that. It certainly doesn't help that I was named Lucille. A freshly pressed shirt is enough to chase away the last signs of sleepiness. The feel of crisp and clean cloth in my hands is a clear marker to the start of the day. Smoothing down my suit and my hair with a sigh, I steel myself for the horrors. The horrors that come with taking care of a child.
Good morning to you, Luke.
Good morning. Speak of the devil and she shall appear. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, Kylie grins up at me as soon as I open the bedroom door. She swings the backpack she's clutching, hitting my leg in a show of impatience and looking entirely unapologetic for it.
Did you just wake up? Don't tell me you forgot. It's our playdate today.
I nearly did, really. It's hard to remember something as trivial as an ordinary play date when there's murder fresh on one's mind. But there's this instinct, long ingrained, to act as if everything is normal despite the blood on my hands. Else I would have spiraled out of control a long time ago, and things wouldn't be as good as they are now. Besides, she's a bright child. Tolerable. Kid's got a good head on her shoulders and can get pretty mature for her age at times. Of course, they have to thank me for that. Her parents can take partial credit, but Hana and I have been there for this kid since she was just a small babe. Why, I can still remember the first time I saw her. It was during her baptism. The only reason I was there was to accompany Hana, who was to be named godmother. She was such a tiny thing, not even a year old, and swaddled in her mother's arm in white cloth. It was the first time I really saw an infant up close. Close enough to hold one, at least. It had been terrifying to be given a little child to carry after the whole water ceremony. I've never done so before that, to hold a tiny life in my arms. I could have just dropped her on her head and this little tyke before me would have stopped existing then and there. But the child just smiled at me, babbling nonsensical words as children do, and clinging to me even as I tried to hand her off to Hana. She had thought it hilarious and adorable. My suit had been a mess, and I was nearly an anxious wreck by the time I handed her back to her mother. Yet it was pleasant, too.
Of course I didn't, you little rugrat. I just had to take care of something before you arrived.
Really? Well, I guess that's fine. As long as he told me for work like last time.
Really? Now why don't we go back down and have breakfast in the parlor?
I already ate at home. Papa made one of his tortillas de patatas. He wouldn't let me leave until I finished every bite.
Ah, the Suarez's infamous tortilla de patatas. Those things are a hazard. I don't know why, but it bothers me that she pronounces it tortilla instead of tortilla. I know she's little, but she's probably heard more Spanish than English at home, I would imagine. So, if anything, she should pronounce double L's as a E more often than not. So the tortilla de patatas always is like, ugh, it's tortilla, girl, tortilla. You can probably use one to bludgeon someone into submission with how huge they are. It's a miracle Kylie can still be so energetic. I had trouble staying awake the first time I had one. Speaking of staying awake.
Well, I need some coffee in me at the very least. But if you'd like, you can jump straight to dessert.
Yes! Dessert, please!
It's easy enough to manage Kylie with the promise of sweets, thankfully. The hard part is managing her before she gets the sweets. Because I nearly have a heart attack when the kid races down the stairs. Just the thought of her slipping and breaking her neck is enough to make me rush down after her.
Oh, slow down! The food isn't going anywhere.
The food is going somewhere. In my tummy.
Jesus fucking Christ. Children.
Sorry for cutting off your giggle, Kylie. With a shake of my head, I usher Kylie towards the parlor and order a maid to bring food for us. Whatever breakfast there is, along with a cup of coffee for me and an ice cream for Kylie. But I can't leave the kid alone for too long, unless I want to let her turn the other room into a slaughter ground. True to my expectations, I've only left Kylie alone for a few minutes, but she's already made herself comfortable. The stuff from her backpack has been left scattered across the room, from coloring books and crayons to toys. She's well equipped to amuse herself with no trouble, though I can certainly breathe a little easier if she won't bring her doll along every time she visits. Narcissa, or Sisa, is a creepy little bugger. It doesn't help when Kylie left her during one. Finding the thing at the bottom of the stair staring up at me at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning is a memory that won't be leaving me anytime soon. Even now, it stares at me from where it's seated. I'm wholly tempted to just throw the thing into the fireplace and banish it from whence it came. I can buy her a prettier doll, a better toy. I will break it. Find a way to get rid of it. If it wasn't from Hana, and if only Kylie isn't so attached to it. The thing is some antique doll she found for the brat's 6th birthday. One of a kind. My darling Hana loved her so. And Kylie does try to be a good goddaughter, but she just can't keep her interest long with the wife. It's not something that Hana does wrong on her part. She does try so very, very hard. It's just that she doesn't quite know how to really handle children. She'd never been around other children when she was young, surrounded by protective adults who cater to her every whim and worry for her safety every minute. When she isn't able to keep up with Kylie, her first instinct is to be strict. Impose rules on the child, treat her as if she is made of spun glass, like every movement might break her. I at least have some idea from being around street kids. I know the games they've played and how they think. I know that scraps and skinned knees are all part of childhood. Even with how I grew up, I had time to be a child and not some sheltered heiress. With Kylie, as behaved as she can be, with her toys and her books and arts, she has to use up all her energy somehow. To run around the playground and make a mess in the mud, or to even just fake wrestle for a short while. Let her be a child when she wants, I'll say. If it becomes too much, just bribe her with sweets or ship her back to her papa. Problem solved. Unfortunately, Hana wasn't quite up for those sort of things most of the time, thinking it'll spoil the child. It turned a whole playdate awkward every time. Taking the last seat left, I pluck one of her coloring books from the table to see it filled with dinosaurs. Not exactly what I expect to see for a little girl, but it doesn't hurt anyone. If she wants to play with dolls and cars, or dolls with their cars, what do I care? She once put dolls' tutus on model cars, even.
Oh, this is a new one. The last one you had was filled with horses, wasn't it?
Those were ponies, Tio. They're much cuter than horses. But we went to a dinosaur zoo, and it was awesome! Dinosaurs are my favorite.
I have no idea what that is, but it must be something. I'm only familiar with the T-Rex myself.
Yeah, they found, fossils of its claws. They're really long. They think the whole theory might be a bazillion meters tall, even bigger than a T-Rex. Cisa says it'll be big enough to eat all my classmates.
I forgot about this creepy face from Kylie. Kylie, been hanging around Takako too long. She only laughs as I scrunch up my nose and grimace.
Takako says you're making a really funny face.
Taka who?
Takako, a friend I made.
I have to stop and look around, expecting one of the help to be there. The child does have a way of befriending just about anyone, as long as she puts her mind to it. Yet the two of us are completely alone. Or are we? Thankfully, she only finds my disturbed look as another funny, grown-up expression. That might be a lot more problematic than whether she plays with dolls or cars, though. Both the thoughts of Cisa giving Kylie ideas, and one of said ideas being massacre by dinosaur. Something I probably need to bring up with her father aside from work. But beyond murderous dinosaurs, creepy dolls, and imaginary friends, I find no trouble with Kylie. She's as energetic and precocious as any tyke her age can be. She's an angel if she can get comfy and settled in after getting her sweets. Oh, that looks so good. We tuck into our waffles as soon as food is brought in. Our waffles, because she wanted her own plate to go with the ice cream as soon as she saw mine. A fresh plate of berries is brought in as well, which really goes great with the rest of this feast, as Kylie puts it. And if I indulge in the sweetness, I have a cup of black coffee to pair it off with. With our bellies full, Kylie grows content with just scribbling on a scrap of paper and calmly chatting about her week. She talks of her older brother Rowan and their parents, how they plan to go to the Bloxland in Berkshire for the winter holidays. She mentions Miss Pink, Rebecca, which I listened to with half an ear. Our initial meeting had been a mess, but I can't quite find myself to listen to stories about her teacher wholeheartedly, the phantom sting in my hand still itching. She talks of the sad man in the park, and of her new friend who likes to play hide-and-seek when she's not sniffling in the loo. When, finally, she finds nothing new to talk about, she goes back to her drawings. That'll change as soon as her stomach settles, of course. the calm before the storm. Because, behaved as she is right now, I can feel the curiosity just radiating off her. There's a restlessness buzzing under her skin, and a question on the tip of her tongue, as they often are with children her age. But for now, I can take this piece with no complaint for however long it stays. I have fun with the crayons as well at the child's insistence, even if I can't really draw. With Kylie using the black crayon, that leaves me with the yellow one. I absent-mindedly start to doodle flowers, which are just about the only thing I can actually do decently. I've halfway filled the page with yellow when Kylie breaks her silence.
Yo, where is Tia? She's still sleeping in bed again? Is she gonna join us later?
I'll be lying if I say I'm not worried about going on with this line of questioning. I honestly am not expecting her to ask about her godmother. For all that Hana was her actual godparent, she isn't as fond of her as she is of me. For a moment, paranoia fills my mind. It's suspicious of her to ask about a dead woman for no reason. I do realize this is ridiculous, to think a child is a threat to me. Her father might be putting her up to it, to find dirt on me my mind supplies. I'm not too disillusioned to think that the people working under me are actually loyal to any extent. I can't stop myself from being defensive.
What do you care? You've never asked for her before.
Mama's been asking about her. She hasn't visited for a while.
There's a shrug, and some sense to her words. If that doesn't relieve some of the tension from me, nothing else will.
I don't know where she is, Munchkin. She's probably off somewhere doing grown-up things.
That makes sense. Tia does a lot of boring grown-up stuff. There's always a boring grown-up parties. You must be happy you're not doing a boring grown-up thing right now, thanks to me.
Hey, I'm doing a grown-up thing. I'm taking care of you, aren't I, you little rugrat?
I'm still on edge, but it's easy enough to put on a carefree mask once I get a grip of myself. The roll of her eyes and the way she looks at my doodles in a false, serious manner helps too.
Your drawing doesn't look grown-up to me.
Nevertheless, like any child her age, the line of questioning doesn't exactly stop.
Is Tia still asleep? I want to give her this pretty drawing I made for her.
And I know that they can't help it. That they don't know where to cross the line out of genuine and innocent curiosity. Yet that doesn't stop me from snapping.
Tia isn't here, all right?
So where is Tia?
She's not anywhere that I know of.
Probably at another party, shaking hands and all that.
But she's coming home soon at least, right, Tio?
Enough, you little brat! Can we just...
I don't know where Hana is. That's the official excuse for when her disappearance is looked into. It's easier to claim ignorance, to have a lack of liability if foul play is ever suspected. There would be no mens rea or actus reus if I spin the whole affair and make myself the clueless bystander. It'll be easier to manipulate the story if I remove myself from it, whichever way we choose to deal with this mess. But I've been blindsided by the interrogation of a child. Whispers in my ear conspire.
Silence her. End her.
Not on your life this time, girl. I'm not letting you snap her neck again. I have to shake my head to clear away the thoughts. She didn't deserve my anger for such innocent questions. Because this is just a kid. This is Kylie, for fuck's sake. I don't need to silence her. I had to—
Let's just have fun, all right? I'm so sorry, Kylie. Please don't cry. I didn't mean to.
I raised both my hands in a non-threatening manner, trying to placate her, only for her to take a step away, wide-eyed and terrified. This look on her face just crushes something in me. She doesn't let me say anything more than that before she runs away, crying about wanting to call her father, about wanting to go home. Her crayons and toys lay strewn about, forgotten. Even Narcissa is left behind. She never leaves her doll behind if she can help it, and now it's looking at me, accusing. I've never shouted at her before. I had no right to. And, even if I want to deny it, some part of me was about to raise my hand to her, when I promised a long time ago that I would never harm a child. Miss Pink was wrong about me, it looks like. I'm a horrible guardian. I'm not good with kids at all. Or good Period. I just can't help this awful energy that's taken over me. I feel so angry and tense and...
Ah, Sisa, what is wrong with me? Am I going mad?
Possibly. Quite possibly. With Hana gone and his butler intentionally staying out of sight, Luke was left alone to watch over his godchild, Kylie Suarez. However, what was supposed to be a simple babysitting turned awkward when the precocious child began asking questions. I don't think I can spend any more time with Kylie, considering how high-strung I feel. So it is a good thing that Suarez came for her as soon as I've called. Though it is earlier than the agreed-upon time, he voices no complaint. The bastard even has a look of relief as soon as they left. Or, at least, I interpreted it as such from where I've stood by one of the windows, not bothering to step out and greet the man. No doubt he still doesn't trust me around his spawn. Well, he has every right to be suspicious of me. I am a dangerous man, after all. But, to my chagrin, that leaves me with the rest of the day with nothing to do. Well, aside from picking up the mess Kylie left scattered about in the parlor. To my immense relief, she remembered to take her doll home with her this time. But the same cannot be said of the crayons and papers littered here and there. First things first, I snatch my own doodle off the table and rip it to shreds, leaving no hope that it will see the light of day. The rest of the drawings, all Kylie's, remain unharmed as I collect the lot. Though they have been stacked neatly on the table before, they must have been blown about when I saw Kylie off. And there are plenty of them. From cats and cakes to colorful rainbows and gardens, the child managed to make a lot during her morning here. There is one more that I have to fish out of the fireplace where it landed. Expecting to see another one of Kylie's masterpieces, I am instead greeted with something a bit more concerning. There is me, and there is Kylie, the two of us side by side and smiling as our stick figure selves stand in a nondescript field. That much I can ascertain without looking at the labels below the doodle's feet. But a third figure stands next to me in the drawing. A woman with her face hidden behind a curtain of black. Takako, the writing under her supplies.
Takako says you're making a really funny face.
Taka who?
Takako, a friend I made.
The hairs on the back of my neck stand on end, and I feel a chill go down my spine. A breath. That isn't mine. That has me turning around, expecting, hoping, to see someone, anyone, but nothing. And that's when I hear it. Laughter, sweet and merry laughter ringing from the ballroom. Thinking about it has my cheeks burning and my blood running hot. It's as if I'm being mocked. As I stomp towards the door, I have to stop myself from shouting up a storm. I expect to see some of the help dallying about, idle from their duties. Perhaps they thought they could slack off in their duties without the head butler around and with my preoccupation with Kylie. Well, they had another thing coming. But, again, nothing. Nothing from what I can see with a cursory glance at the very least. I roam around, looking for near impossible hiding places. And still I am all alone. Yet I can still hear the laughter. That accursed laughter echoing about in the room. In my head.
Who's there? Show yourselves and show some respect to the master of the house!
Cold uneasiness settles into my stomach when no one answers. I stumble on my own 2 feet, feeling a wave of nausea come from nowhere. I have to put a hand against the wall to stay upright when the world shifts and pain explodes from behind my eyes. It takes every ounce of my self-control not to heave then and there. The only thing my pride allowed me to do then is to close my eyes and attempt to alleviate some of the pain. Vague, unfamiliar images, dare I say memories not mine, flash in my head, unbidden and unwelcome. Alright, these are the ones we got from our deaths. Like a strong hammer strike to the head, threatening to crack my skull and split it in 2. Whatever emotions they hold are muted. I'm nothing but a spectator. Still, its weight feels palpable. Though it doesn't take long for these sensations to get into my head. Through my eyes and my ears, it creeps and buzzes in the spaces between. She nearly drops her tray as she enters her lady's bedchambers. The lady is being taken against the wall like a common street whore. That man is not her lord, her prince. But she is not of a station that will allow her to judge. That doesn't keep the shock from her features or from her voice.
Milady, I brought the my apologies.
Her voice is small, subdued, and shy. Though the lady needs no words to express her displeasure as her face turns from one of pleasure into that of anger and accusation. Her glare burns, focused and scalding. If looks could murder, the servant girl would be dead where she stands. All the while, her lover still moves in and out of her, either unaware of their audience or enjoying the act even more because of it. My heart feels like it's seizing in my chest, like it's being squeezed and the pressure won't stop until it bursts.
Are you truly storming off over some hearsay? Be sensible.
What you did, it is... There are no words. You bring disgrace to this family. This rotten noble standing in front of me is not the cousin I grew up with. This is not the lady I fell in love with. She would never do such unspeakable things, Charlotte.
I bring disgrace. I bring disgrace. I'm not the idiot who's running off in the middle of the night. You promised, Edward. You gave me your word. Don't you dare turn your back on me. I swear to you, if you step 1 foot out of these lands, mark my words, Edward, I will.
What? What is it you swear? Will your men steal me away, defile me too, like what you did to yourself?
There is an undercurrent of fear. I'm in danger, my head screams at me. And there is hurt, a deep burning shame I can feel on the woman's behalf. Looking at her on its own is a chore I cannot bear. Whispers and accusations fill every crevice of my head, ringing and echoing around like a terrible case of tinnitus. They stare, gazes filled with judgment and disgust. Even before their beloved lady has spoken, she's already condemned.
This horrid woman! I beg the court for justice! Who knows what this devil's bride is capable of? She has already bewitched my love, my betrothed. I just cannot bear to think of what she has done to him after. Or what else she may do to our people if we let her live. Blood taints this woman's hands, and I deserve to be repaid in kind for that which she has taken from me.
There is nothing for her but death, and she knows this. Her silence says as much. One after the other they come at me, an unending flood that threatens to sweep me away for what feels like an eternity. Each one a show of both joy and suffering for those who have called this mansion their home. Each new scene is like a hammer to the head, threatening to crack my skull and split it in two. I can feel every little emotion in the blurry images that present itself in my head. I feel a part of these, like I've lived through them, though I know that is not possible. All their anger burns through me, that much is evident. But the pain more so. And above all of it are the whispers. Their voices calling, luring, until one image emerges in vivid contrast with the others. When there's a shout of joy, my eyes snap open looking for the culprit. That's when the whole room just changes. Everything is the same, yet everything isn't. There are people everywhere, laughing and dancing. I should be concerned about them, but my mind finds it easy to dismiss them as they fade in and out from nothingness. Instead, I find my concentration drawn to a man and a woman, though one can only call them a lord and a lady going by their clothes. And oh, just see how happy the couple looks. Though the man's eyes are eerily blank, like he's not all there. His face is familiar, though. In fact, they both are, but I can't quite place why. The two make for a pretty picture as they dance in the center of the ballroom. Even the phantom crowd's attention stays on them. It reminds me so much of Hana and I during the early days of our marriage. The honeymoon years, they call it. We were happy then, too. All smiles and her sunshine, even with the normal dreary weather. Younger, we had less to worry about. Or at least thought that way. I thought, wished, we could go on that way even with all that I did and had to do. But life has a way of catching up. There was work to be done. Although we had to stay the loving, perfect couple in public, I could not afford to look so weak. To appear tied down to someone else to those who knew who I really am. I had to harden my heart when I have business. But it hadn't always been so easy to just switch that part of me on and off. I should be concerned about their intrusion, too. Ask what in bloody hell they are doing in my house, throwing a party as if they own the place. Ask myself how the fuck I didn't notice what was going on before, when the parlor and the foyer are both only a few doors away. There's a horrid feeling of envy. And though I have long accepted that I am a jealous person by nature, I have never felt such a strong feeling of envy as I have now. They were happy with each other, these people, but Hana and I... Envy turned into anger. Anger for something I could not have. But I have the feeling that yelling and screaming at them won't do much of anything anyway. None of the others have given me notice. I realize that this might not even be real. It dawns on me that these two are the people from the paintings, the ones all over the mansion. Which makes sense. I don't think I'm imaginative enough to make all this up on my own. This must be a dream. Or a really horrible high. Just then, I can feel eyes on me as I contemplate the absurdity of the situation. Yet I find difficulty in trying to tear my eyes away from the two dancing. I manage. And I regret looking away. The woman from the garden stands beside me. I can hear her rattling breath, menacing and chilling. Everything in me screams to run. But something pins me to the spot as she just looks at me, watching and waiting. The clamor of their voices filled the ballroom. Although they say such welcoming words, I do not feel comforting by the madness I'm experiencing. Their joyous voices turn sinister and foreboding to my ears. The chorus of people that shouldn't exist, threaten to overwhelm me, drown me even as I stand on dry land. The music still plays as the Phantom Quartet continues while I stand here, vulnerable and afraid. But the dance has already ended, and I'm afraid that I might just be tonight's entertainment. Attention is all well and good until bollocks like this go down. These phantom people watch me, thousands of eyes scrutinizing, though they cheer for my return, cajole me to dance and join the merriment. There are eager hands all over, pulling me in every direction, but they do not move me enough to remove me from the woman's gaze.
Listen. Can you not hear them as they welcome you home? Your kind? Our kind? You're one of us, my lord. We are bonded by the blood we've shed.
If I thought the voices were overwhelming before, it is nothing compared to how they are now. Their voices are loud, speaking in unison and echoing ever on in the spaces of my head. They welcome me back, as if I've always belonged, as if I was meant to be here in the first place. They call me all these titles and names that do not belong to me, and that man's face, the one with the empty eyes, flashes again before me. Once, fleetingly. Like a new memory having burned itself in my mind. I have to struggle for air when I come back to myself after.
I'm not. This isn't...
The welcomes turn into screams at my protest. Pained and desperate pleas for my help, telling me that it is my duty to stay. Telling me that I belong among them, to them. Gentle touches turn near threatening, the warning scratches and the baring of teeth by predators before they truly maim someone. My mouth goes dry as I struggle to speak some sense in this hallucinatory madness, but I don't get the chance as they drown out my voice.
Our Lord, mine,
At her words, there is a compulsion to stay. Though my heart races in my chest, the fear I should be experiencing refuses to register in my head. Mind and body war with each other, nearly tearing me in two.
Oh, you finally returned to us.
The compulsion to walk into her arms is strong. Whispers in my head tell me to go to her. They say that she is safety. She is home and heart.
We have been waiting for so long.
But, repulsed at these thoughts, I wrench away and turn with a small gasp. Without hesitation, I start to make a run for it. I nearly falter when an angry shriek pierces the air, inhumane and monstrous. I don't dare look back. I just run. I didn't care if this is a drug-induced hallucination or not. Just run. Out of the ballroom, and out of the parlor. It's only then that I bother to look back, hoping and praying to the god I scorn that it did not pursue me. I would have run all the way out of the mansion, too, if only someone didn't get in my way. And with that, take a moment to read our journal. If I can get my mouse over here. There we go. Just didn't want the stomp, stomp, stomp of feet in the background. Alone, Luke heard voices coming from the nearby ballroom. When he decided to investigate, he was assaulted by memories not of his own. And at the center of it all is the same woman who appeared before him the day before. I collide with a body much larger than mine and fall back to the ground, head spinning as I look up at the stained glass. Turning my head to the side replaces the colorful sight with a pair of shiny black shoes. Fatigue fills every inch of my being then, making me refuse to get up. Meanwhile, a familiar head of ginger hair looks down at me in bemusement.
You really must look where you're going if you insist on running about. Do tell, where is the fire?
Oh, thank God you're here.
I do hope you don't have a concussion. Can you count backwards from 15 to 1 for me?
Oh, fuck off, you wanker. Just help me up.
I do not think insulting me if you do have a concussion is a smart decision. But no, really. 15 to 1.
That woman, she was here. I told you to keep an eye out for her.
The other man offers an arm and pulls me up to my feet then. But before I can storm off and pull him to the ballroom, he anchors me down with one hand on my shoulder and the other touching the back of my head.
No bruising or bump. That still does not mean that you don't have a concussion. If you are too lazy to count backwards, can you tell me your full name? Where are you currently?
We don't have Lucille Mitchell Wright, and this is the Ermengarde bloody fucking foyer. But we don't have time for this.
You must make and have the time to make sure you are not broken in the head.
Well, unfortunately, that could take a little longer.
I have already sent security to scour the whole house when I saw you running out of the parlor, Dummkopf. If the woman is here, they will have her. You will only be slowing them down if you plan to interfere.
When he points that out, I realize that there are guards starting to filter into the house as we speak, with some already searching the nearby rooms. Armed and uniformed men go about in pairs, making it so that the house is in a flurry of activity. He lets go of me then, with the knowledge that I'm not going to keel over anytime soon.
I was hoping that you would be tired from dealing with the young miss on my return. Instead, you come running and hit your head. Such a troublesome boy. Shall I be carrying you to bed, too?
I can manage just fine on my own. Though I don't see how I can sleep until that woman is caught.
It'll be easier to keep you safe in your quarters. This is twice we've known the woman to break in. I think we can safely presume that you hold her interest.
He says it as a matter of fact, in a tone that brooks no argument. Not like I'll argue if it means I'm kept safe. The two of us hurry upstairs, though we remain watchful and wary of any potential threats to my person. We make it to the master bedroom without any trouble, though, and two of the security are left outside the door. No problems at all. Breathing a momentary sigh of relief, I sit down on the bed while the other man looks out in the balcony and closes the door behind him.
The balcony is clear.
And he's thorough, looking in the closets and under the bed, even going so far as to looking in the nursery, but it is with that he comes back silent. Johan's eyes scan the room warily, searching to see if he missed something.
What have you done with the madam?
What do you mean?
The body. It isn't there.
What? Last I checked, it's still there.
It's not like anybody knows where the fucking body is. Did it just stand up and walk away? Got tired of being dead and decided to unkill itself?
It isn't there. That must mean it's somewhere else. And the house is crawling with guards, none of who knew that Hana is already dead. I feel the color drain from my face, but before I can take a step out, he raises a hand to stop me from charging out there.
Stay.
Stay? Do you see the problem we have here, Shroken? Are your eyes open, Shroken? Do you see the problem we're having here, Shroken?
Shroken!
With my own eyes.
What the bloody fuck are you still doing there, then? Hana's corpse. A corpse is missing. If anyone else finds that bloody body, we are going to have an even bigger problem than Suarez's company leak.
Which is why I'm asking you to calm down. This isn't...
You do not understand, do you? Okay, everything is at stake here.
Money, reputation, connections, the company I've built. Everything. And so I pulled a knife. There's no second thought as I reach under my side of the bed and pull out one of my knives. I have no doubt that the other man can take me on if we are both unarmed, but with this, I can even the field. Or at least deter him from escalating the situation and risking hurting either of us.
I'm going out there to look for that damn fucking body, and you're either with me or you're fucking fired! I am not risking anything. I am not losing everything.
Still, like a stubborn mule, he refuses to budge from the door. There's a withering look on him that I try to match. One that somehow I am losing fast to, even with him not saying a word yet.
Can you see yourself in the mirror right now? You're in no proper state to go looking for anyone, let alone your wife's dead body. If it'll make you happy, I will do the looking. But please, and don't make me repeat this, stay where it's safe, where security can find you. We already have one matter to be worried about. Please don't add another one to it.
Perhaps it is his tone. In spite of his general disdain for virtually everything that has to do with me, I'd like to think that over the years he has grown some sense of duty to his employer at least. Much as I loathe to admit this, I trust him over any other servant in this house. So, an acquiesce.
You have 2 hours, Shroken. I don't think it'll take that long to find one lifeless fucking corpse in this godforsaken house. 2 hours. Any more than that, I'll do it my fucking self.
Of course.
Despite his words, he lingers. If I didn't know any better, I'd say he wants to make sure I get in that damn bed and sleep before he turns away from me. What am I? A child? Watching me and treating me like one? There's the reason why we will never get along.
Well, what are you waiting for?
Nothing. I just hope you're happy.
Verily, now mush!
Verily.
As you wish.
Only then does he seem to get the hint. And I think that may be the last time we talked to Shroken. And gave us that Princess Bride line. Aw, poor Shroken. Bumping into Luke after his flight from the ballroom, Johans quickly ushered the paranoid man to his room, while the house's security looked for the trespasser. Before leaving his master, Johans scoured the place, only to find Hana's corpse missing from the nursery. With a nod, he leaves, locks and closes the door behind him. For a moment, I still hear his voice while he gives the guards outside firm instructions, then a hush as soon as he departs and his footsteps fade away. One that doesn't quite last. As quickly as the silence settles, lightning flashes across the sky, followed immediately by the loud boom of thunder. And that wanker strikes so dangerously close that I can feel the electricity in the air. The power goes out not a second later, and I feel as if I'm being mocked by whatever greater power there is. All is deathly still for a moment, but soon the rain starts once again. Far heavier than the light drizzle from this morning, its pitter-patter hitting hard against this place's roof. Despite the noise, I find myself drawn to my bed, exhausted, hoping for a little nap. I'm safe here. Shroken will find her, and when I wake, I won't have anything to worry about. It does not take long. Once my head hits the pillow, in a matter of minutes, darkness claims me, bringing with it laughters and whispers of a twisted love from a time long gone.